Peace, guys. Patrick, Conservative Rap, and let's get into some political news. As you know, the deep state is now panicking. Trump and the Patriots, they're shutting their system down on multiple levels. Just as the big, beautiful bill is passing, people are going to see the opposite. Every step of the way, Elon and Trump, they putting on the feud to control the optics, and effectively everything that the leftist news, the fake news, the media pundits push gets contradicted. A couple of months ago, it was about tariffs and trade wars and the market. Now that's being disproven. Then just recently, it was about Iran. That has been disproven, so on and so forth. It's a staged debate, right? All this thing you hear about Trump and Elon, it's really like a staged debate to allow them to attack the deep state and undermine their entire premise. RFK also is coming out a lot about the vaxxers, how they lied about vaccines, doctors getting kickbacks from the pharmaceutical companies. So just like we've been lied to about the economy and lied to about politics, we're lied to about healthcare, and that's coming to the front. People need time to digest this. It's not like you and I, we're heavily researched, we know what's going on. Remember that it's a phase of progressively waking people up. So let's cover some of that, particularly some issues about ICE. I'm going to share my screen and let's see what's happening. So this is going to be from Secretary Kristi Noem. And she says, "This sure looks like obstruction of justice. Our brave ICE law enforcement faces a 500 increase in assaults against them." She's talking about a new app that came out that actually allows people to flag and notify others of ICE capturing illegal immigrants, which is in effect obstruction of justice, right? Obstruction of law. If you obstruct or assault our law enforcement, we will hunt you down and you'll be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Let's take a quick listen.
Administration steps up ICE raids and mass deportations. One tech developer is pushing back with an app designed to track ICE activity in real time. It's called ICE Block, and it's controversial to say the least. Senator Claire Duffy is with us now. How does this work, Claire, and what are the legal implications?
Yeah, John, I talked with Joshua Aaron, who is the longtime tech worker who developed this platform, and he said he really wants it to be an early warning system for people about the location of immigrations and customs enforcement officers. So he says he does not want people interfering with those officers' activity, but he does want people to be able to avoid them altogether if they want. So you open the app, it looks like a map, and users can tap the map to report an ICE sighting in their area, and then everybody who uses the platform within 5 miles of that sighting will get a push alert. This is a free iPhone app. It is anonymous. Aaron says he doesn't collect any user data. And what I think is really interesting about this in this moment is we've seen so many of the biggest leaders in tech supporting President Trump, but Aaron is sort of an example of the fact that there are people within the tech industry who are really resistant to Trump's policies. I asked him what he would say to those tech leaders who, for example, were at the inauguration. Here's what he told me. Take a listen.
I understand that you have shareholders to
cover this liberal garbage, and who cares what he has to say. But Amuse replied to this, right? Include Apple for distributing the app. Of course, it violates their terms of service. Apple's App Store review guidelines prohibit apps that, quote unquote, facilitate, enable, or encourage illegal activity. A clear precedent is HongKongMap.live, an app that traced Hong Kong police movements during protests. Apple explicitly cited this guideline when removing it. The app, quote unquote, allowed users to evade law enforcement and facilitates activity that is not legal. Enough said. Let me repost this quickly. Next, let's move on to Breaking 911. This is Tom Homan. I love this response. Just check out what he has to say.
Reports of a 75-year-old Cuban national who died in ICE custody. He had lived in the United States for 60 years. He was being held in ICE detention in Florida. Is there anything you can tell us about that? There's still not a lot of information, how he died.
I'm unaware of that. I'm not aware of that. Okay. I mean, people die in ICE custody. People die in county jails. People die in state prisons. I mean, if you look at, when I was ICE director and we drilled down that, the question should be how many lives does ICE save? Because when they go into detention, we find many with diseases and stuff that we deal with right away to prevent death. So I'm not aware of that specific case, but I'll say this. People can argue with me all they want, but the facts are the facts.
And I love this administration. Trump has put patriots in the right spots. They know how to combat and deal with the fake news narrative. It's a wonderful argument, right? People die everywhere. What about the lives that ICE actually saves when they deal with the diseases? It's a wonderful and very cogent rhetorical response. So, Julie Kelly, let's move on. More on ICE immigration. Chief Justice Roberts is to blame, and it's high time he fixed it. The AEA has always been considered non-reviewable, and if the lower courts don't like it, they can talk to their Democrat bosses about having it changed by Congress, not from behind the bench. Julie Kelly's response, yes. The judges today struggle with a basic question. If the Alien Enemies Act is not subject to judicial review consent, then how can judges impose a notification or due process mandate? These judges that are doing this lawfare against Trump, trying to impede the executive power, need to check themselves. They need to stay in their lane and deal with the issues that are in front of them. More on ICE. This is great. Well, before we go to that, actually, let's do a quick clip. I saw this or found this somewhere. Check this out. Share this tab instead. Detention centers under under Trump and under Biden. I'm going to try to zoom in so it's clear. Look at this. Now, this is indoors. It's air conditioned. They have beds. This is immigrants, illegals under Biden, where they're just fenced in like caged animals. So you tell me who's the one mistreating the illegals, right? Let's move back to X. I'm going to come back. And this is MJ Truth Ultra, a great account. I would follow this when you can. Absolutely huge. Ron DeSantis' announcement that he'll deputize members of the National Guard to be immigration judges. Translation: one of the things 3 to 5 years for aliens to go to court. It'll only take a day or two. This is great. Let's check out some more.
I think that is exciting about this is we're offering up our National Guard and other folks in Florida to be deputized to be immigration judges. We're working with the Department of Justice for the approvals. I'm sure Pam will approve. But then I'll have a National Guard judge advocate here. Someone has a notice to appear. Biden would tell them to come back in 3 years and appear. Now you'll be able to appear in like a day or two. So they're not going to be detained, hopefully, for all that long. We'll have people here in this facility that can make, it's a bureaucracy. The president's got to deal with the bureaucracy. Now, that Supreme Court ruling was good because that's going to allow him to be able to exercise Article 2 the way founders intended. But you still have bureaucracy. So we want to cut through that so that we have an efficient operation between Florida and DHS to get the removal of these illegals done.
Amen. And a woman, too. Now, let's move on. Again, more on immigration, guys. This is Trump on Truth. Check this out. Because of the violence and criminality I've seen due to the open border policy of sleepy Joe Biden, in particular allowing millions of people into our country who shouldn't be here, I wanted something representative to show how we fight back, and then it happened. I saw a picture of Alcatraz looking so foreboding, and I said, we're going to look into renovating and rebuilding the famous Alcatraz prison sitting on the bay, surrounded by sharks. What a simple it is and will be. Conceptual work started 6 months ago, and various prison development firms are looking at doing it with us. Still a little early, but lots of promise. And this is what we need. We need a president who isn't afraid to deal with the issues and then to deal with them in such a poetic way and symbolic manner, right? You got alligator Alcatraz coming back into effect. People are going to see that and think twice about coming here. It's awesome. Nick Sorter on X, breaking. President Trump just asked the DOJ to look into arresting Alejandro Mayorkas for aiding and abetting an invasion of our country. The Biden administration never pardoned Mayorkas, so he's free game. Get on him, Justice Department. Justice must be served. So again, we'll get off the immigration kick in a bit, but just check this out.
They just been arrested yet. Obviously you guys are cleaning up the mess that was made deliberately for the past 4 years. And so people want accountability. It's great to see that the border is secured, and it's great to see the state level cooperation. But I guess I would ask you, why hasn't he been held accountable, or anybody really?
Well, pardons were given out by to many people, and they shouldn't have been given out. Like the Unselect Committee of Political Thugs was given a pardon because they destroyed all of the information from 2 years of hearings, and they should be arrested, but they were given pardons. Was he given a pardon, Mayorkas? Was he not?
I don't believe so.
Well, I take a look at that one because what he did is it's beyond incompetence. Something had to be done. Now, with that being said, he took orders from other people, and he was really doing the orders. And you could say he was very loyal to them because it must have been very hard for him to stand up and sit up and talk about what he allowed to happen to this country, and be serious about it. So he was given orders. If he wasn't given a pardon, I could see looking at that. In fact, why don't you take a look at it, Kristen? He was impeached, but yeah, it was just a fake impeachment. It was a fake impeachment. Why don't you take a look at it? I think he was so bad. They were all so bad. Look, it was the worst president in the history of our country. We've had some bad ones, but he was the worst president. But somebody told Mayorkas to do that, and he followed orders, but that doesn't necessarily hold him harmless. So take a look at it. It's a very good question, actually. Thank you.
Yeah, it's one part, and it looks like they forgot. Moving on, let's check out Karma Patriot on Truth, another great account. This is going to be on the Elon Trump feud. She says, like a moth to a flame, right? Just typed in Trump Elon into a search engine. And look at this. This is Sun Tzu Art of War level tactical subterfuge and misdirection. There's all this about Trump threatening to unleash Doge on Elon Musk vowing to create another party, Elon Musk regretting some of the posts. Trump says Elon Musk will face serious consequences. So they have this feud that the media is focused on. Naturally, that's the quote unquote red meat from a media content perspective that the mainstream news is going to hone in on. But check out Karma Patriot's translation. Well, it looks like President Trump just showed mainstream media and the Democrats that he buckles to no one. Not foreign leaders, not lobbyists, not politicians, not billionaires, not even to someone he considers a close friend. Just like last time, the mainstream media has pounced on Elon Trump feud like a hawk on a mouse. So just like last time, I'm not going to read too much into it just yet. Believe nothing of what you hear and only half of what you see. All right? And then she clips to some of this. What do you guys think about what you're seeing here? What I see is a grand scheme narrative gameplay that positions Americans to progressively wake up. What we would consider hardcore right, hardcore conservative views are slowly going to become the mainstream consensus. And out of the Republican Party, where you have the rhinos, and then out of the Democrat Party, which is effectively, I mean, look at New York, right, with this guy Zoran, explicit socialist who thinks the government should seize means of production. The average common sense American is going to become MAGA. And they're not going to have any counter arguments because they've spent so many years contradicting themselves on every particular issue as Trump builds peace, as he builds a golden age economy, and as he deals with actual everyday issues that the common working American person faces. Feel free to comment below. Like, subscribe, share. Check me out on Instagram, TikTok, as well as ConservativeRap.com for more. And enjoy 4th. Travel safe and take care. America first, guys, and thanks for listening.